Creativity requires a context. Creativity requires access to knowledge. Creativity is no creativity. And creativity is breaking from a tradition. Unless you are in conversation with a tradition, you cannot be creative. Originality is rearrangement of pre-existing ideas, always, always in the world. There's no originality which has no precedent to fall back upon. Originality requires a context of continuous dialogue. When you break from that, someone calls it creativity. And if you do not relate to anything that exists in a pre-existing dialogue, people send you where you ought to be sent, namely an asylum. That's the difference between creativity and pure madness. Creativity requires certain conditions. Creativity is not an individual endeavor. Creativity is not about me holding a piece of pen, looking at nature, and penning down some poem. That's one kind of creativity, surely. But there should be someone to read that language, someone to publish it, someone to take it around. Creativity also requires means of legitimating the knowledge that you possess. Creativity requires ability to give effect to whatever you have innovated. To sum it up, creativity requires power. I thought the missing link in thinking about creativity and freedom is this unstated bracketed thing called power. Unless you have access to power, you cannot give access to, you cannot give effect to your creativity. I think of a world in which power is distributed not equally. I'm against equality of that kind, because it's a silly idea to give everyone just the same quantum of something, irrespective of their ability to use it. I think a society that we need to move towards is a society where your power is in proportion to your ability to use that power creatively. I mean, the richest person of this country also owns the largest number of television channels in this country. The manner in which, and you and I do not quite know who owns what percentage share in which television channels that we watch every evening. Cross-media ownership bans prevail all over the world, not in India. Elementary declarations about conflict of interest. Why is it that one of the largest selling Hindi newspapers in this country did not carry one single report about this thing called the coal scam of this country? It so happened that the owner had lots of coal mines. Not one word was mentioned about this. So we are in a situation where the freedom of media is very seriously compromised. The idea of India has three components. I keep talking about it: democracy, development, diversity. On democracy, just when we need to renew, just when we need not merely to celebrate the fact that we have managed to remain democracy in the last 65 years, but to actually take democracy deeper, that is precisely when India is being offered an alternative between dynasty and authoritarianism. On development, just when India is about to unleash itself, just when certain entrepreneurial energies are being released, and we could have stepped beyond the traditional dichotomies of the right and the left, that is precisely when we are being drawn back into an old and really jaded binary of state welfarism of the kind that we think we've just left behind, and market fundamentalism of a kind which is utterly destructive. Can't we move beyond this? On diversity, just when we could say to the world, yes, we have managed to remain one single united country, when no one would have given us a chance 65 years ago. And just when we had to take this idea of celebration of diversity to the last person of India, that's when we are being given an option between vote bank politics of one kind and majoritarianism of the most crude variety. That is what worries me.